business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the pod.
Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. Every episode is this invitation, a reminder that business and life isn't just about profit. It's about purpose. It's about showing up with a servant's heart in every deal, every decision, every day. My guest today is going to light you up with something very new he's launching. I think you leaders out there are going to fall in love with. He's going to motivate you. He's going to challenge you. Most importantly, you're going to walk away, especially today, with tools that inspire action, both in your life and in your business. Before we dive in, here's your homework today. How are you going to serve yourself and others today? It doesn't have to be a big impact. It can be. Even a small act of kindness or courage can change the game and make that incredible impact. So lean in. Definitely take notes, and let's discover how servant leadership in business can create ripple effects that last far beyond the bottom line. Quick shout out to Epic Impact, the only universal, emotionally resonant messaging framework that works anywhere for any audience. This 4-step system transformed how I pitch, how I post, and how I podcast. Those 3 famous words: engage, persuade, inspire, and close. Persuade means bringing value to somebody with love. Love with God. Persuasion's perfect. I use this daily and it works. And you can grab your free trial at epicimpact.ai with the promo code Steve and start inspiring action today. And a real quick shout out. Gary, who's my guest today, was on my show before, so I'm going to let him know we just reached top 20 in small business marketing of all podcasts. And it's the great guests like I have today and you great audience. More importantly, we're all making an impact together, and let's keep doing that. So thank you again. Gary, welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart.
Hey, Steve, thank you. And what a fitting name for your show, because I can't think of anybody better to host that show than you. And congratulations on the top 20.
Thank you, Gary. It's as we've talked about before in leadership, it's a community. It's not a solo venture. It's a community venture, and that's powerful. Yeah. Jump dive. We're going to dive right in, but first thing I want you to talk about those 5 levels of leadership that you really focus on to help people grow.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve. Listen, the 5 levels of leadership, written by John C. Maxwell, and as you can see in the background, I'm affiliated with John. I'm part of his faculty and working some with the Corporate Solutions Group now to really bring something exciting forward surrounding the 5 levels of leadership. So, real quick for the listeners. There are 5 levels of leadership, and it's 5 levels of influence really that you have with people. There's that position level. You have the position, they follow you because they have to, right? And that's a level of influence. The second level I really want to highlight is the permission level. This is when people give you permission to lead them. That means you've connected with them at a higher level. You automatically get a higher level of productivity at level 2. Level 3 is the production level, where they win, they're getting better results because of your leadership. And then here's what I love is this people development level, level 4. That's where you get sustainability of levels 1, 2, and 3. When you have your leaders leading from level 4, leading on levels 1, 2, and 3, you get sustainability of those things, of that performance and that product. And then level 5, you want your leaders leaning into level 5. By the way, level 5 is awarded to you. There's some disciplines where you can lean in, but it's awarded to you. And whenever you have that level 5, Steve, that's that respect. That's like, for instance, Steve, probably, no doubt, you've got some level 5 influence out there because it just boosted you up to top 20. What level 5 is, when they hear leading with a servant's heart, when they hear Steve Ramona, they're like, sign me up. There's a level of respect and a level of influence there. And whenever you have leaders leaning in to that, here's what you have in your organization. You have brand, promise, deliverable, sustainable delivery of that brand promise. And that's what I'm excited about.
And the sustainability, you said a number of times. Here, audience, I'm going to tell you, it's impact and income. Yeah, we got to make money. But if I'm making an impact, and Gary, you're making a huge impact, the money comes right behind it, not in front of it, behind it. That's why our first show was so fabulous. And go back and look up Gary White on my previous podcast. It was wonderful. Why are you so passionate about these levels?
You know, Steve, it's really because when I understand that everybody's got a success story. Everybody's got a success story they're trying to write, a success that they're trying to attain. And I like to say it this way: we've been fed a lie in the past. Somebody said success is at the top of a ladder. And we talk about it's not at the top of a ladder, it's at the top of a mountain. It really is. And listen, when your mountain's big enough, and I just believe the listeners to this podcast, their mountain is big enough and it's worth the climb. But you know this, Steve, and your listeners know this, that if that mountain's big enough, you don't get to the top by yourself. You don't. Yeah. As a matter of fact, if I'm going to climb Kilimanjaro today, it takes 30 porters. It takes 30 people to get me successfully to the top. Yeah, it's a real thing. And as we're trying to reach our success, we've got to have leaders that know the way, who go the way, and who will be willing to show the way. And I asked a group the other day, I said, how do you raise the level of your leadership? And I let them know, I said, it's not a trick question. I just want to hear from you. And each one of them gave great answers. And the answers they gave were different disciplines. They said goal keeping, problem solving, vision. Yes, all of those things are true. And I said, yes, and. So you raise the level of your leadership, and I'm going to point to the law of process, the 21 laws of leadership. Leadership develops daily. So I've got to daily be in the grind every single day, engaging with my people every single day. I've got to be good at level 1 every single day. I need to be good at level 2 and good at level 3. And one of the ways that I can know that, Steve, if I'll have a mechanism of feedback in place, it'll help me keep the pulse of the organization. Because if I don't hear from you, Steve, if I'm leading you and I don't ask you, hey, Steve, how am I doing? Right? Then I won't know. I'll think I'm doing great, but I may not be, right?
Well, it's the financial guys that talk about it all the time. Do you know your numbers? Right. And a lot of companies don't. They're like, well, I look at my bank account in 6 months. And I'm like, oh, whoa, that's maybe not daily, but it's the same idea. I think I know the answer to this, but I got to have make sure I'm right. The 5 levels, is there one more important than the others?
No, because you can't leave one. You can't leave one level and say, oh, I'm a level 4 leader, or I'm a level. No, you can't leave a level. You layer because here's the thing. Let's look at those. Let's look at those first 3: position, permission, production. There's 3 things. If I'm leading you, Steve, there's 3 things that you need from me every single day. That's vision, connection, and trust. Vision and connection. Half of the trust is in the vision and connection. Do I have a vision? Am I pointing the way? Does your vision dovetail into that? Does it even matter? And will I make the decisions to defend the vision? Can you get along with me? Because if you can't get along with me, you're not going along with me. So that connection, you need to know that you matter. And so 50% of the trust is right there. And so the third one, the trust, the other 50% is whether or not you can win by following me. You need those 3 every single day. What I just described to you is the first 3 levels of leadership.
I'm going to pat myself on the back because I got the answer right. I kind of knew it's and everybody wants a shortcut. You can't shortcut leadership. No. Flat out, you could drive on a road and go a shorter route to get there faster. Leadership is not part of that. And that's, I think, where a lot of people fail. Oh, I'll miss this one. I'll get back to that. I love how you said that. Yeah. So let's drum roll, please. Let's unwrap the gift that you're going to give my audience. Let's talk about this new system you've got coming out.
Yeah, Steve, I'm really excited about this. So created an organizational development framework that wraps around the 5 levels of leadership. And I've been talking with the corporate solutions group in Maxwell leadership. And here was the response that I got. As leaders, we're typically very good at being able to tell people what to do. But sometimes we don't have clarity on the how until now. And they saw the framework and it's all the operational efficiencies. If you can imagine your organization and you have a business operating system and you have a human operating system, and they must dovetail. And there's disciplines at every level of your leadership. There's a leadership rule of 5. There's 5 things that the leaders need to be doing absolutely every single day. There's a growth and productivity cycle within this framework. And because it's built on the 5 levels of leadership, the focus is the leadership within the organization. So once we do an organizational health assessment and we begin the implementation process, there's a strategic planning process where A, the results of the assessment are plugged in. B, it's the strategy, the strategic plan of the organization that dovetails into this framework. So it is literally win-win for the organization, and it equips their leaders to sustain that momentum. Because as you know, momentum is a game changer. And when you get the momentum, it's much easier to keep it going than it is to stop and try to get it going again.
Yeah, push that boulder. It's the first effort to push it gets it going. I love it. What came to my head, I might be wrong, but it's like, I know leadership's important. That's driving my car. I know I can jump my car and drive, but how do I fix it? How do I change the engine? I don't know how to do that. So I'm missing that link if I want to fix my car on my own. Am I kind of feeling the right thing here? I know how to drive, but I don't know how, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because there's the navigation piece.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you used the car analogy, because I really want to highlight again a very critical piece is the mechanism for feedback, right? That's within our organizational health assessment. It is part of the pulse of this framework, is that feedback. If you don't get the feedback, imagine getting in your vehicle, Steve, and the gauges in the dash are not working. You don't know if you're overheating. You don't know if you're running out of fuel. Listen, I have driven the vehicles when I was in high school. I was driving vehicles that the gas gauge didn't work. And I had to know how many miles per gallon, how many gallons, and how far can I go? And right. That was my feedback. I'm just doing the math. But just imagine. And there's organizations that are operating on, let me just say, hope. And here's why I say that, because I was talking with a manager the other day, and they were talking about one of their recent hires, and he said, "Oh, we were just hoping that he would catch on." I said, "Come again?" He said, we've dropped a few hints here and there. We were just hoping that he would come around and he would get with the program." Hope is not a strategy. And there was no development, there was no mechanism in place, right? And they weren't really having the conversations of what did he need more from them. And I'm using that as an example, but my point is there's organizations that are operating and functioning every day in their dysfunction, meaning they're not getting the feedback. They think they're doing well, but they don't really know. They just kind of hope everything will keep going in a good direction.
And that's the company that sits at $1 million revenue every year for 10 years going, why aren't we growing?
Right.
And that's exactly, people are happy. Yeah, he's pulling $150,000 a year out of in his pocket. He's happy. His family's getting paid, his bill, but that's not really happy. That's just surviving. I don't think we want to survive in business. That's why I love this. Yeah. So what I'm hearing from you, Gary, now I'm getting to know this even more. I'm getting fired up here. So you're flattening that leadership curve of how to do it. Like, I know leadership is important. I'm a CEO. I have 1,000 employees. I know leadership is important, but I was a plumber. Now I own a plumbing company. So I can jump into this system and start developing leadership systems, not just skills, but systems, and my company will grow with that. That's the ROI, correct?
Absolutely. You nailed it. What this does, it literally, if you can imagine a consulting arm coming into your organization with a organizational health assessment. I worked as a paramedic for many years. And everyone in medicine who's listening to this podcast knows, even those who aren't in medicine, they know this truth, that you never treat the patient without doing a thorough assessment, right? Well, you never treat the organization without doing a thorough assessment. How many organizations are not even doing an assessment? So we have the organizational health assessment, and imagine that consulting piece where there's a framework that overlays the framework of your organization. And you can easily spot the gaps, because here's what I know. When there's gaps, there's competing interest. You ask any business owner, do you have competing interest in your organization? They say, yes, right? That means there's gaps. This framework will help you identify where those gaps are at. And then it's not just, okay, here's the recommendation, figure out what you can do. No, we have a proven, tested model in the 5 levels of leadership and all of the research that's gone into this that aligns all the disciplines on the business operating side and on the human operating side that dovetails into those levels of leadership. When you have that, imagine the strength of your organization whenever all of the leadership gets in alignment. All the systems and processes and productivity from that get in alignment. You know what we're talking about? We're talking when things get in alignment, it takes down the drag. Everything gets streamlined and it takes the drag down. Doesn't mean you don't have problems, right? If you're a leader,
absolutely.
if you're a leader, there's going to be problems. But
Yeah.
this is the how. This is the how to navigate.
Yeah. And if I can solve the problems faster, quicker, and more efficient, I'm a better leader. I'm a better company. I'm a better everything.
Absolutely. And,
So-
and Steve, real quick.
Go ahead.
Hey, even one of the things, and let me just say this, by the way, this is just something that if there was nothing else said in this podcast, everybody listening could take this and latch onto it. Without accountability, it is a paramount pillar of this framework. Without accountability, there can be no development. There will be no development without accountability. So imagine I'm a leader, and I need to have a crucial conversation with someone that holds them accountable for some productivity, let's say, that's just not coming up to par. Oh, but I hate to have those conversations. So procrastination becomes my friend, and I just delay and delay. My leadership is not serving the organization. It's not serving them. It's serving me. And so part of this is having coaches also in place that will hold the leaders accountable. And listen, I must accept the accountability if I'm going to develop and get better. My dad, my wife and I have got a farm, and we're working on getting it cleaned up. And the small trees that I would cut that I could manually, I could manhandle and move them into place, I'd do that, cut them up and put the brush over in the pile. The ones that were too big for me to manhandle, I'd hook the chain to the back of the truck and pull them into place. My dad says, son, what? I've got a 4-wheel drive Kubota with a front end loader, and why don't you use my tractor? Oh, happy day. I was like, yeah. So I used Dad's tractor, and I used Dad's tractor, and I used Dad's tractor, and I used Dad's tractor. And a couple of weeks ago, my dad called and said, son, I need my tractor. And I said, yeah, right. And fuel it up, clean it up, took it to Dad. You know what I did right after that? I went and bought a tractor. Without accountability, there would be no development. That piece of my development would have never happened. I would have never developed that farming part of me without the accountability.
The old phrase and the new phase I hear a lot now: what you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah, true.
And you take that away. No more excuses.
Right.
Here's the cool thing about this framework that I'm learning now is this agnostic to industry and business. I'm a plumber or I'm a financial corporation. This framework works on either one, right? And across the board.
Absolutely, it does. And listen, so the disciplines are the same.
Mm-hmm.
The deliverables may be different. You may have a different product. You may have different software to run different programs. All of that doesn't matter. The principles are the same. The interoperability of those systems, the requirement to have that interoperability, it's all the same. And just like having an organizational structure, having span of control, things of that nature, it all has to be followed. Communication channels have to be followed. If you don't follow them, there's that accountability piece, right? If you don't follow them, there's no development, and the levels don't rise. And as the leadership goes, so goes the organization.
Yeah, and I love that because you're trying to take care of everybody, which is hard to do, but every industry is involved with this. God, my mind is spinning because there's so much going. When somebody jumps into the framework and there's problems, is there a group they can go to? I guess it's their coach that got them the framework. Who do they go to for direction?
Yeah, great question. Because we're rolling this out through the corporate solutions group of Maxwell Leadership. And so obviously that's a primary point of contact, or I can be a primary point of contact. But if we come into an organization and we have an agreement where there's going to be the organizational health assessment, and we're moving forward with implementation. Whenever there's problems, we walk with you 100% of the way. First of all, we recognize there's going to be problems. Why? Because there's going to be change. Anytime there's going to be change, there's going to be some resistance. There's got to be communication, talking points have all got to be right. One of the things about organizational change, one of the most important things, is not only do you notify key people, but you allow time for acceptance.
Yeah.
You have to, right? If you're going to make the change effective. Leaders have got to be repeaters of the vision. So that'll be important. But yes, the quick answer is we walk with you 100% of the way. You won't walk through the problems alone.
It's a servant framework. See what he just did there, audience? He's there to serve. Yeah, as a system, you're going to purchase and all that. Well, it's like nothing else. And AI is a perfect example of change. People are embracing it the right way, whatever that looks like. I'm not going to decide that for anybody. They're going to do well. The people go, like the internet when it first came out, websites. I heard Gary Vee talk about, I work with companies and they wouldn't put websites up. Well, they failed. And the ones that did. This is something new and familiar, but leadership's so important in business, and you're making it easier. We're coming to the end here, and I think we got what's going on, but 2 questions. So the first one is, give us a real-time story of somebody that's used these 5 levels of leadership and grown, and what was the benefit from it?
Yeah, well, one in particular that I can think of right now is 2 in particular. One is Kendrick Motorsports, that's been working with Corporate Solutions Group of Maxwell Leadership for years, and how they have grown, and they're still coached today because they understand that if you're truly leading, and Kendrick Motorsports is a true leader, if as an organization, if you're truly leading, you're not sojourning, you're moving. And if you're moving, then you're taking new ground. And if you're taking new ground, there's things that are unpredictable. If things are unpredictable, you got to find your rhythm. You need coaching, and you need that base of the 5 levels. Delta is another wonderful company working with Corporate Solutions Group. One company that my colleagues and I have been working with is Cisco Systems, a technology company. And we've begun to see wonderful, amazing things happen there. And some of the 5 levels has been incorporated into that. So this particular framework that we're getting ready to roll out, we're actually looking for beta partners for this particular rollout.
Beautiful.
And, yeah. So this is an opportunity. Hey, it helps the organization. They're going to get at a greatly reduced investment. They're going to get all of the benefits of that. They're going to get we'll walk with you 100% of the way. They get every bit of that. And then we'll get some case studies and a lot of that social proof to go with this framework. And then we get to co-brand with that organization. They get to co-brand with us. So we're looking forward to those beta partners.
Powerful. And last question, what's this look like in 3 to 5 years?
Oh man, that's a great question. In 3 to 5 years, this is going to be, if I can put it this way, a household name in the marketplace. It's just going to be, and the reason why is because those that get it, that get the results, the sustainable brand promise delivery that they're going to get, that's going to become a hot commodity. How do we get that? And the truth is, it's available to everyone.
Yeah, so powerful. I've asked this question before, so I'm going to tweak it a little bit to get to know you a little bit more. For new people that are listening, since I think it's been about 6 months since you were on the show.
Yeah.
If you're sitting down at a dinner table, you had 3 empty chairs, who would be the 3 mentors you'd bring to talk business with?
Oh my goodness, what a great question. I think I would obviously I'm gonna say John Maxwell as one for sure. And John and I had dinner together about 5 or 6 weeks ago. Spent about 2.5 hours together, and it was just an amazing time. And his wisdom is amazing. And John is one that he has learning lunches every month. There's somebody bigger and better that he wants to sit down with. So when you're talking with John, you're getting a whole lot of just a lot of gold. I would say Jack Nicklaus is another one that I would want to sit down. And the reason why is there's an excellence to him, and there's a humanity to him, and it just dovetails so nicely. And I would love to learn more about that.
A little help with your golf game wouldn't hurt either. Just to add something
yeah. True,
but
true.
keep going.
And then I would say Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, who's made such an impact through his leadership. That's the three. And I don't know in what order, because I would be taking notes, asking questions, and just grateful for the moment to sit with them and glean from them.
Be a human sponge, just sucking that all in full and keep wringing that thing out, because there'll be so much info. Oh, I have to bring a fifth chair because I would love to sit at that table. Oh my gosh. This is awesome. You're so servant heart passionate about leadership, and now you've developed a framework that people even go further than just coaching. Combine this with coaching is great. How can people become beta testers? How can they reach out with questions?
Yeah, great question. So I'll give you my email address. I'll give you Chris Godey's email address. Mine might be a little bit simpler, but it's Gary at highdefinitioncoaching.com. Chris is chris.godey, that's Goede, at maxwellleadership.com. Gary at highdefinitioncoaching.com, chris.godey at maxwellleadership.com.
And I'll make sure those are in the show notes, audience, or if you don't see them in the show notes, reach out to me and I'll connect you with Gary. I'm personally connected as you can see after 25 minutes, why I'm connected with them. Guy's a rock star, and he's a servant's heart. Those are two levels that make great people. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being another wonderful guest and helping my audience.
Steve, thanks so much for doing what you do. You provide an avenue for greatness to just flow through, because you have greatness on those that come on your show, and you have greatness in those that are tuning in to your show.
Love it. Thank you. I really appreciate that. And audience, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And perfect example is this. You're going to get this link. And guess what you get to do? People that they talk leadership, like struggling with leadership. The story you just told, I'm hoping my employee gets it. You hear that? Connect them with Gary right away, or send them this podcast so they can learn about Gary for 10 minutes. And you just gave them a gift of impact. How cool is that? Me and Gary get to do it almost every day. Now you get to do it as well. And it could be any podcast. It doesn't have to be mine. That just seems to you can make an impact with people. So go ahead and subscribe. With that being said, me and Gary want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast. We'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone. Keep believing.